what's the biggest piece of advice, the 80/20 on an ed tech company trying to go from say 1 million to 10 million plus?
So you've got $1 million coming in every year. You've had some early wins, you've got some traction, you've got some users. The number one thing you need to go do is convert your early wins into vocal advocates. So make sure that every single user that you currently have has done a case study, has provided a quote, and that you're amplifying them. Oh my goodness, you've done such a great job with this. Do you want to speak in a webinar telling everyone how you've been so successful? Oh my goodness, would you like to speak at your state level conference talking about how great you've been in the classroom with this product? So you kind of make your early customers advocates, as well as kind of make them your stars. So you're bolstering their profile, but then they're also giving you that credibility that you need. Referral loops are also great. They work ish in ed tech. If you want to put a referral incentive program in place, that's certainly a good thing to do. But I would say, like, make sure that your early adopters are creating that flywheel of growth for you. The other thing that I would say is, you have to be really honest with yourself about where that revenue has come from, and then what's repeatable and what's scalable. Okay, so if your first $1 million in ARR came from the fact that you have a previous district administrator on staff and they brought in 6 of their buddies, eventually, like, that's probably it. That's all. You can squeeze that all out. Now you have to actually go build demand. But if your early demand came from events or conferences or inbound or outbound or whatever it was, you have to take a really good hard look at what you've created, what worked and what didn't, double down on what worked and step back from what didn't, even if that kind of hurts your feelings because you really like that channel. I'm a big Kill Your Darlings fan. And be really honest about how those channels are going to work at scale, because everything runs out eventually. And then the other thing I would say is you are sitting on a gold mine of feedback. So going way back to one of the first things we talked about, that tech people are so lost in the sauce, like, you now have a captive audience to tell you, is your product meeting the needs, but also is your messaging meeting the needs? Use your early adopter group to provide feedback on both product functionalities and informing the roadmap and all that kind of stuff. And then there's really good things that you can do in terms of saying we were educator informed, or we partnered with people, or we partnered with our early cohort to make sure that it does this. Like, those are all good stories to tell and kind of give you some of that more educator credibility, but also use that group to test your messaging and how you're talking about yourselves, because they're going to be able to tell your story to their peers way better than you can. So make sure that you're using, kind of like leveraging them in that way. From a 0 to 1, that's hard. 1 to 10, super easy. You've got a growth wheel already in place. Make sure you're leveraging your early adopters to amplify that message is kind of the number one thing I would say.
Yeah, I'd say sounds like never lose focus on your customer, right? So as far as getting learnings, insights, and feedback, but also using them to promote your product and create your messaging and your content, kind of full circle, informing the product, creating the messaging, everything takes a user focus. And then to your point, being ruthless with the budget, cutting what doesn't work. And maybe that just means good KPIs. It doesn't mean anything that's direct response, direct revenue, but being smart with your KPIs and really being realistic and cutting what doesn't work.